Welcome to this explainer for the skin surgeon. Today, we're taking a completely science-driven look at a trend that has literally taken social media by storm. We're going to deconstruct the viral beef tallow skincare trend, and we'll be separating all those ancestral marketing myths from actual hard dermatological science. So, the internet wants you to put beef fat on your face. Yeah, I know, that sentence sounds pretty absurd when you say it out loud, but this trend is very real. We're talking millions of views, countless influencers, all making the claim that rendered cow fat is this ultimate, natural, skin-identical moisturizer. It's a massive claim, and it's exactly what we're going to unpack today using rigorous evidence. Now, to do this right, we need the best expertise. This explainer is based on a comprehensive medical review prepared by Dr. Thomas Hocker. He's a Harvard and Mayo Clinic-trained, triple board-certified dermatologist, Mohs surgeon, and dermatopathologist. The information we're looking at today reflects his deep expertise and was reviewed for up-to-date accuracy as of July 3, 2026. All right, before we really dive in, just a quick but important disclaimer. Everything we cover in this explainer is strictly for general educational purposes. This is not personal medical advice, and tuning into this does not create a doctor-patient relationship. If you're dealing with a skin condition, please always consult your own clinician or a board-certified dermatologist. So, how exactly did we get here? To figure out why this trend exploded out of nowhere, we really have to understand what consumers are creating right now. Honestly, the core appeal is just that it feels natural. It taps right into this narrative we all kind of love. The idea that natural is automatically better, that old-fashioned, ancestral methods are safer, and that modern skincare is just way too full of unpronounceable chemicals. People just want simple ingredients, something cheap with no mystery involved. It's incredibly understandable and frankly a brilliant way to sell products. But feeling right and being scientifically right, well, those are two very different things.
And that brings us to where we have to start separating the emotional marketing hype from the actual scientific reality.
Right out of the gate, we slam into a massive evidence gap. When Dr. Hanker reviewed the medical literature, the findings were incredibly stark. There are absolutely zero published clinical trials showing that beef tallow is a superior product for facial skincare, for acne, or for eczema. Zero. What we have here is an entirely unproven moisturizer being sold with highly aggressive, unproven claims. To get why that matters, let's look at how your skin actually works. Your outer protective layer is called the stratum corneum. Think of it like a brick wall. The bricks are your dead skin cells. The mortar holding those bricks together and keeping the walls strong is made of a really specific, complex mixture of lipids. We're talking ceramides, cholesterol, and free fatty acids. When this mortar is healthy, it locks water inside your body and keeps all those outside irritants out. Now here's the direct comparison. You'll hear influencers claim beef tallow is skin identical. But remember that mortar we just talked about? It absolutely requires ceramides, cholesterol, and specific free fatty acids. Beef tallow, on the flip side, is rendered cow fat. It's roughly 95% triglycerides. It has no ceramides, no cholesterol, and no wax esters. Claiming tallow perfectly matches human skin is literally like saying a bicycle and a car are the exact same thing just because they both have wheels. Sure, there's a tiny superficial overlap in a few basic fatty acids, but structurally, they are fundamentally completely different. Which brings us to a really important point about safety, because putting rendered beef fat on your face isn't just biologically mismatched, it can actually backfire. We always have to remember a golden rule in dermatology. Natural does not automatically mean safe. Poison ivy is 100% natural, right? But you definitely wouldn't use it as a moisturizer. Applying a thick, heavy animal fat comes with a major acne caution, especially for teenagers or anyone with naturally oilier, breakout-prone skin. Slapping an occlusive fat onto skin that's already overproducing oil is basically a recipe for trouble. Let's break down exactly why it triggers breakouts. First off, beef tallow is highly oily and occlusive, so it just sits heavily right on top of the skin. But here's the kicker. 40 to 50% of tallow is made up of oleic acid. In the dermatology world, oleic acid is a documented comedogenic agent, meaning it's literally known to clog pores and induce blackheads and whiteheads. On top of that, studies show it can actually disrupt the organization of your skin barrier and trigger inflammatory signaling. And it gets worse. If that tallow oxidizes, meaning it starts to go rancid, those oxidized compounds become even more pore clogging than the original fat. And that whole issue of rancidity, well, that leads us right into the surprisingly unglamorous side of this DIY trend. A lot of folks are buying homemade tallow from small online shops or even whipping it up in their kitchens, thinking it's the purest option. But unformulated, homemade skincare carries significant real-world risks. Because these DIY products completely lack standard cosmetic preservative systems, they're incredibly prone to bacterial and fungal contamination. Plus, fats oxidize over time, producing highly inflammatory compounds you absolutely do not want anywhere near your face. There's also zero quality control for heavy metals or pesticides the animal might have consumed. And finally, to mask that lingering beefy smell, people load these products up with essential oils. Here is a crucial dermatological fact for you. Fragrances and essential oils are the #1 cause of allergic contact dermatitis from cosmetics in the US. Okay, so if beef tallow isn't the miracle cure the internet says it is, what actually works? What really repairs the skin barrier and locks in moisture? Well, the truth is, the absolute best, most effective skincare ingredients in the world are usually the most inexpensive, unglamorous, and, let's face it, boring ones. They don't have a cool, viral, ancestral origin story, but what they do have is decades of rigorous clinical data proving they work. Take a look at these so-called boring winners. You've got petrolatum, which you probably just know as Vaseline. It has the strongest evidence of any moisturizer ingredient out there. It genuinely permeates the stratum corneum, accelerates barrier recovery, and reduces water loss better than almost anything else. It's cheap and it's amazing for dry skin. Then you have glycerin, this brilliant humectant that pulls water directly into the skin, mimicking your natural moisturizing factors. And of course, dimethicone and ceramide creams. These actually supply the exact structural mortar your skin barrier needs, making them incredible for eczema-prone skin. These ingredients are regulated, they're safe, and most importantly, they are backed by science, not just TikTok views. Now listen, despite all the science we've just covered, I know some of you might still be curious and want to try it out anyway. If you have generally healthy, non-acne prone skin, tallow isn't a poison. It just acts as a basic, heavy occlusive. So if you insist on trying it, let's talk harm reduction. Here's a safe protocol for you. First, choose a simple, fragrance-free product so you avoid those essential oil allergies. Second, never put a new viral product straight onto your whole face. Patch test it on your inner forearm for 24 to 48 hours to check for any reactions. Third, if you notice new acne, a rash, or any burning, stop using it immediately. And finally, please, never use an internet trend to replace actual treatments prescribed by your dermatologist for conditions like eczema, acne, or rosacea. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway for this explainer. The internet absolutely loves a romantic story, and the idea of going back to a simple ancestral fat is super compelling. But your skin? It doesn't care about marketing, it cares about biology. When it comes to your health and the integrity of your skin barrier, the rule is simple. Choose evidence before ancestry. Stick to the proven, boring winners, and let's just leave the beef fat in the kitchen. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. What other ancient internet skincare myths are currently hiding in your bathroom cabinet? Let us know and stay curious.